Just a reminder as we begin that this presentation may contain forward-looking statements, which should not be taken as guarantees in making product purchase decisions. Because you're here at Virtual Groundbreak 2020, you're either already using Procore to manage your construction process, or you're at least thinking about it. What you may not realize is that you can expand your Procore use beyond just the construction phase into design and pre-construction. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. My name is Alex Kea, and I'm a product marketing manager here at Procore, specializing in understanding the owner's needs for a complete project lifecycle management system. In the construction industry, we give a lot of attention to what's happening on site during the build. And that makes sense. That's where everything is materializing, and the pressure is on to bring that project to life. But construction doesn't happen as an isolated process. In fact, the construction phase comes on the heels of many months or even years of planning, design, and pre-construction activities. I know that in my time as a former design engineer and consultant, the project's early phases often felt the most chaotic because at least during construction, there's a well-defined plan in place. It's important to start thinking about controlling your processes early because risk starts accumulating early. Any mistakes that make it through the design or pre-construction phases are going to show up on site at the time when they cost the most money and effort to fix. It's in your best interest to catch and correct issues early on. So why don't we put more emphasis on digitizing and optimizing these earlier project phases in a way that ultimately supports and enhances success of construction? Well, the good news is that as an owner, you are the one party involved from start to finish. And you have the power and the perspective to implement processes and requirements that can improve your project execution across the entire life cycle. So what can you do to ensure high quality project execution during design and pre-construction? Given that much of the risk during the early project phases stems from the need for better communication, collaboration, and visibility across a broad range of stakeholders as that project constantly shifts, well, this is exactly what Procore was built for. And even though people often think of using Procore during the construction phase specifically, we do offer many tools and features that are generic and flexible enough to be directly applied to design and pre-construction as well. By leveraging Procore from the project's start, you can gain many of the benefits that you may already be familiar with from the construction phase. Things like increased stakeholder accountability, better collaboration, everyone knowing where to go for current, up-to-date information in the single source of truth, the reduced risk of losing, omitting, or making mistakes with the data, streamlined processes, and a continual stream of project-related data that can be used to make real-time decisions or in historical analysis for future planning. But I don't expect you to just take my word for it. Next, we're going to hear from two current Procore customers, Tyson Foods and Ananda Development. These customers have very different businesses. Tyson is a corporate food producer based in the US, and Ananda is a luxury high-rise real estate developer based in Bangkok. While they aren't in the same line of work, construction is a critical process for both Tyson and Ananda to run their businesses. And they both understand the importance of digitizing and modernizing their processes not only during the course of construction, but also during design and pre-construction. So I'm going to turn it over to them. First, we'll hear from Katrina at Tyson. You'll see that Tyson is ahead of the curve in terms of connection and collaboration between their internal teams across the project lifecycle. And you'll get a few ideas on how you could implement Procore for design and pre-construction as early as today. Take it away, Katrina.
Thanks, Alex. Hello, my name is Katrina Tawil, and I am an engineer for Tyson Foods. I've been with the company for 27 years. I lead our program management office. In addition to administrating Procore, my team covers project reporting around financials and timelines. You have probably heard the name Tyson Foods and have hopefully seen it on your grocery store shelf. Our main purpose as a business is to deliver food to the world. We have our own engineering team. In particular, I work in the poultry division. So we have 183 facilities and over 11 million square feet. Right now, we have over 200 ongoing projects that are somewhere between project development and construction completion. The poultry engineering team does most of our design in-house with project managers functioning as general contractors on our project sites. Our projects range from small, single discipline utility upgrades to production line changes to large greenfield facilities. We have internal teams for design engineering, drafting, control systems, and project management. Typically, we will act as our own general contractor, hiring out the trades and the installation. You probably wonder why a food company would do something like this. And it's simply so that we can have better, faster project delivery from concept to completion. We are very, very good at engineering poultry production. Because we have such a large collaborative team, we need tools that support collaboration and information sharing. We need this to be a seamless process because our various teams are involved throughout all phases of our projects. Before Procore, we tried several things for document management, but documents were everywhere. We had an internal file server. We tried using SharePoint, but a lot of times documents ended up on somebody's hard drive. To share information with our contractors, we used an FTP site. The problem was that these systems were cumbersome, difficult to access, especially away from our corporate campus, and there was no accountability or tracking built in. Ultimately, these issues weren't just inconveniences, they presented an unacceptable risk to us. If we got hit by an audit, maybe we'd find the information we needed, and maybe we wouldn't. Or contractors would claim that they hadn't seen a portion of the scope and hadn't included the associated work in their bid, so they'd hit us with a change order. We had no way to prove that they had actually seen the completed project information. The bottom line, if people can't find the information or can't be accountable for information, we can't function optimally as a team. We brought on Procore in 2019 because it offers a place to consolidate all of our project documentation and communication in a single source of truth. It can be easily accessed from anywhere, including by teams out at our job sites. And it has built-in tracking and accountability features. From day one of our project lifecycle, we are already tracking information there. As we move into the design process, the engineers, drafters, and project managers all use Procore to collaborate on the design. Handoff to construction, we can't even really call it a handoff. Project managers are involved in the design process, and all the project info is already in Procore. Project managers just start taking the lead when we move into executing the construction project. Our design engineers stay closely involved all the way through the completion of the project. Even maintenance managers and plant managers have access to Procore. We involve them in the process and leave them with detailed records. After all, they are the ones who have to live with it when the project is over. There are several tools that have been particularly helpful to us during the design process. We use the meetings tool to document our design review meetings. I've set up templates that standardize and outline our design review criteria at each step of the process, and we can take notes in attendance, then distribute that information immediately after the meeting. We utilize the tasks tool to assign and track deliverables identified during a meeting. The benefit of this, a standardized process so we don't miss any key steps of a review, and a complete record of meeting outcomes and action items. Our drafting team uses the coordination issues feature heavily, and they love it. Prior to design collaboration meetings, a drafting team lead creates a Navisworks model and manually walks through the file to look for clashes, documenting them using the Procore plugin. They are assigned to the correct discipline and expected to be addressed prior to the next design meeting. Before Procore, drafting was using a combination of saved viewpoints in Navisworks and meeting notes to track accountability. With the plugin, we can easily keep record of not only who is responsible, but who created the issue, when it was created, and any communication that was had in regards to that specific issue. Once the issue is addressed, it is marked as ready for review. It is closed out by a drafting team lead once they have confirmed that the issue is resolved. Every Monday morning, the drafting team leads receive auto-generated reports from Procore telling them the outstanding coordination issues that have not been marked as closed. This is incredibly useful because it helps them hold others accountable and reminds them to poke the bear when necessary. The benefit of this, by using the tool, the team can avoid having the same conversations meeting after meeting and ultimately gets clashes resolved more effectively. This rolls right into the drawings tool. As the design is being developed, we go through progressive updates and revisions. We use the drawing revisions feature to manage drawing sets as they are updated. What we really love, the OCR feature. That cuts down on time when uploading drawings because there is way less manual input. Each discipline can upload the drawing into a set, making it much faster and easier to search for a drawing at a specific design phase of the project. The benefit of this, visibility and version control. When anyone accesses the drawings, they automatically get the most recent version, but they can also still see the markup and changes, compare old revisions, and get notified when there are changes. Once our design is complete, we are ready to bid out the work. We love the bidding tool, and it was one of the major reasons why we bought into Procore. We can directly compile our drawings and documents from Procore into the bid package, send it to contractors, and best yet, track the receipt of all the documents. We know who saw the drawings and documents and when they downloaded them. The benefit of this, accountability and reduced change orders. No trades can come back to us with a change order claiming that they did not see a certain part of the scope. I think our entire team would agree that Procore has changed the way we deliver our construction projects for the better. I'm going to give you the top 5 things we love about Procore. Collaboration. I think that's obvious to all of us. If we can't collaborate and have the information we need, then it just doesn't work. We have a single source of the truth. Everyone knows exactly where to go for information, and everything is in one place. Accountability. We're using lots of the built-in features like assignee, ball in court, auto-generated reports, and that sort of thing. Bidding. We have no doubt as to what information a contractor bid against, and that reduces our change order liability. Mobility. We have put tablets into the hands of most of our project managers, and that allows them to respond to RFIs and submittals and view drawings on the fly wherever they are. It's been a huge time saver for them. So far, I've primarily talked about using Procore during design and pre-construction as a solution for collaborating, sharing information, and streamlining processes. These values hold true during construction, but also in potentially surprising ways outside of normal construction. Sometimes we have to respond to a disaster and manage a project without our normal structured process. A few months ago, we had a fire in an outbuilding of a facility that shut down production. The project was already set up in Procore by the time our project managers and contractors were boots on the ground at the plant. They didn't have to chase down documents from the design team. It was already in Procore. Everybody, including a president of the company and on down, wanted regular updates, so we subscribed them to the Photos tool. The project manager was able to take photos from the field, and management was notified instantly. This kept everyone looped in, and our project manager wasn't getting bombarded with calls and emails, so he could just focus on working and getting the plant back up and running. None of this would have been possible without the collaborative Procore platform. So most of you listeners are probably already using or thinking about using Procore specifically for a typical construction job. But don't be afraid to get creative with it. This is a platform that will streamline your collaboration no matter the job's phase, location, or nature. I want to leave you with one final thought. It was pretty easy to get our teams up and running on Procore, and we are truly reaping the benefits of having a platform that everyone can access and use to streamline their jobs. Now that we have Procore, I tell people, if you win the lottery tonight and don't come back to work tomorrow, that's awesome for you. And we will be able to go on without you because your work is saved in Procore. With everyone collaborating in one consolidated platform, everybody's on the same page and has all the info that they need. Thanks for listening. Y'all have a really good day.
Thanks, Katrina. So as we heard from Katrina, even though Tyson originally brought on Procore for construction, they're finding unexpected ways to reap the benefits of their collaborative system of record across their internal teams throughout the project lifecycle. And their design teams love Procore because it helps them stay connected to the project even as it moves into the control of the project managers during the construction phase. Tyson's story is a true testament to the ways that you can get started right away using Procore out of the box for design and pre-construction activities. Next, let's hear a different perspective from Whiphawk at Ananda Development. Ananda is equipped with an internal tech innovation team, and we'll hear about how they're working to push the boundaries of how they use Procore to manage the critical steps during design and pre-construction. Wipak, over to you.
Thank you, Alex. Hello, everyone. My name is Wipak Tukanlangsi. I'm a Chief Technology at Ananda Development Company. The business of Ananda is a property development, but my background is actually not from this industry. I'm from technology innovation side. Most of my career, I'm focused on bringing technology innovation to the business, run change management, and accelerate through technology adoption. Ananda is Thai public company. Even though we are not a technology company, we do care a lot about technology and how to bring those technology to our operation and support our customer. We use technology to achieve business target. We have grown our business many multiple of times since our IPO in 2013. Ananda now is a market leader in high-rise condominium near mass transportation. We focus on using technology to help us work better, faster, and more efficient. One of our technology value is to build a landmark, not just a square boxy high-rise condominium, but eye-catching building that can be spotted from a distance. The local photographer here love to come to our building to take beautiful shots of the building itself or a scenic view around our building. As you can see from the numbers shown in this slide, Ananda is number one in terms of the condo units sold near mass transit. We have built 47,000 units and delivered 64 projects. Even though we are a brick and mortar company, but we managed to build strong product with unique brand value and grow like technology company. And the answer to that is because how we handle technology and how we handle innovation. Since technology and innovation are crucial to the way that we work, we have set up a dedicated innovation team. They are the one who search for cutting edge technology and bring them to the business. They are pretty unique in the way that they work and the way that they think. They are more like a startup company inside our own company. They are pretty tech savvy. They become a group that the rest of company trusts to bring technology to improve our day-to-day operation. One of their accomplishments was that they spread their love of technology to other teams in the organization and able to motivate our construction team to adopt change and set their target to beat yesterday. In this slide, I'm showing you some of the technology that we use to build our project. Few technology that I show here, we develop in-house. Our approach when we look for innovation is to build partnership with technology creator. Sometimes we buy off-the-shelf package if it fit our need, but if it's not, then we try to build it ourselves. When we review our end-to-end business process, we can see that our construction team still use Microsoft Project and Excel to do their work. So it's the obvious choice for us to look deeper into this area. Without much looking, we can see the constant problem that our construction team have. Their critical information was gathered across multiple systems in the email, in the Google Drive, or share drive. And it's very difficult to effectively communicate with their stakeholder and get their alignment. So what type of solution are we looking for to help our construction team? We need an end-to-end project management platform that connect all of our process and information in one place. And we found that Procore was that solution we're looking for. When we're searching for solution, Procore is not the only product in the market, but we decided to adopt Procore for several reasons. A few of them that I can share is that we find that Procore is pretty easy for our experienced colleague. Subcontractor management is pretty straightforward, and I like the fact that Procore have a strong marketplace. After using Procore for a few years, I would say that Ananda used Procore heavily to collaborate with our contractor and subcontractors. Here's the example of how we apply Procore today. We have a construction dashboard which rely on Procore data. All of our project manager using this dashboard to monitor the project. It shows them the health of project timeline, budget, and progress. This gives our project managers early warning of areas that could be at risk. All of this is possible because we have standardized data and consolidate them in one platform. We use Procore to gather all of those necessary information to generate this essential dashboard. Since we implement Procore in 2018, we have noticed an improvement of how quickly our team can execute project administrative tasks. When we put a rough comparison between before we use Procore and after we have used it for a few years, we can see significant improvement. Looking forward, we are now working on a project called Ananda Project Dashboard. This will represent our entire portfolio, consolidate information from multiple projects into a single place. We will also want to expand beyond the construction phase. Ananda Project Dashboard will include pre-construction information as well. In APD, we roughly define 14 critical points in our end-to-end process, 7 of them in pre-construction and the other 7 in construction phase. We already have pretty good construction data. In order to provide a more comprehensive view, we need to start extracting pre-construction information and processes, then bring them on board to Procore. With the complete information of all 14 critical points, we think that we should be able to improve efficiency of our end-to-end journey. Next, I will provide you a few detailed samples of our critical points in pre-construction phase. In this example, we were using Procore as a collaboration tool and central repository for all related information. In the project Kickoff, it involves several different teams, start from land acquisition, design team, construction, and several others. The logistic of meeting, communication, and information sharing can be very tricky and time-consuming. Previously, we tracked it in Microsoft Project or in our own spreadsheet. Everyone has separate view of the project using their own data. Now, we start onboarding this critical point to Procore. We can see the immediate benefit. Everyone starts to get the same information and visibility of the project. The second example I want to show is in our design kit and checklist review process. This is another critical point that we can make much more efficient. During the design and checklist review, it involves a lot of survey, design, and legal documents. Lots of detailed information are required through this step to get the construction permit. This process should be much smoother and more effective once we onboard it to Procore. We plan to build checklists and map with the actual documents to ensure that all important information are not missing or incomplete. Timing of each task completion is vital since we need to work with government agency. So if we miss those time slots, it can cause us a lot of delay and expense. With Procore, the team can plan, review, and collaborate to make sure that everything is in place and accurate, so the permit won't be delayed. After we onboard this critical checkpoint to Procore, we expect to see a much lower rejection of the permit and get it approved with much less effort. We have talked about a few examples of what Ananda has been doing in order to innovate our project. Our goal is to find a creative way to implement technology across our entire project lifecycle. And Procore is one of the powertrain we were using to drive our business day to day. Thank you.
Thanks, Wipak, for sharing your story. You're a true innovator. Ananda also originally brought on Procore for the construction phase, and as they've realized the value in our collaborative platform, they've set their sights on using Procore to optimize the critical steps of design and pre-construction. And they inspire the idea that even though you can use Procore for design and pre-construction out of the box, you can also leverage our open API to truly innovate by customizing and optimizing the process in a way that meets your company's unique needs. Next, let's check out a demo of a few of our features that have important applications during design and pre-construction. As we've been discussing throughout this presentation, successful projects begin with a successful setup, and a successful setup requires a plan. That's why we're excited to introduce Procore Action Plans. Action Plans is a single place to organize stakeholders around a phased approach to project development and execution. You can predefine critical project-related activities and sequence them appropriately, and make sure your team is aligned on the approach in advance. For each item in the plan, you can define your criteria for successful completion, consolidate reference documents from within Procore, and clarify what type of documentation or response must be submitted as part of the process. Accountable stakeholders can provide the required response directly into the action plan. Then, those accountable for verification can sign off that the step was completed according to expectations. You can even place a hold point to block subsequent steps from happening prematurely. With action plans, the team is accountable to complete critical steps in order and to your expectations, so you can avoid putting the cart before the horse and ultimately ensure high-quality project delivery throughout the project lifecycle. So now you've got a plan and the team is running with it. Because you own the project, you're going to be issuing a lot of directives to different stakeholders like designers, engineers, consultants, contractors, and more. With poor data and miscommunication causing $31.3 billion in rework in 2018 alone, the risk is simply too high to keep these important communications buried in emails. Procore's correspondence tool is our most flexible tool ever, enabling you to broadcast and receive any type of critical communication with any stakeholder right here in your Procore official system of record. And when I say any type of communication, I mean it. This is truly the most flexible tool that we have ever introduced. Correspondence enables you to broadcast communications outward or to require updates from other parties and communicate back and forth with them, with the ability to DocuSign any correspondence item. You can even connect correspondence items to change events, RFIs, or other types of correspondence, and link correspondences to a drawing. The power in correspondence is its massive flexibility. You can create templates for any type of communication that you want, with options to require responses, add custom fields, and to give each correspondence type its own set of granular permissions so you can control exactly who will or won't have access. And did I mention that correspondence is also on mobile? The correspondence tool is so powerful and flexible that our customers are telling us how they use it. In the end, what you have is an incredibly adaptable tool that enables you to keep stakeholders accountable to key communications and maintain everything seamlessly in your Procore system of record. So now you've got all the key stakeholders aligned. Let's move into the design phase. It's important to nail this. By some estimates, 70% of total rework experienced in the construction industry is the result of design-induced rework. It's really common. And that's exactly why project owners need their project teams to be leveraging robust tools specifically to manage the design review process. Procore's coordination issues enables you to identify, discuss, and resolve design issues collaboratively with the extended design team so that you can keep problems in the digital world. With coordination issues, you can track design issues from 2D drawings or 3D models and make sure the right stakeholders are accountable to get the issues resolved. Any back and forth communication can happen efficiently and in context. And just as you'd expect, tracking coordination issues in the Procore platform means it's easy to monitor the status of issue resolution and make sure nothing slips through the cracks and shows up on site. Ultimately, when you're using the Procore platform to manage your communication, organize around a plan, and track accountability throughout the design and pre-construction process, you're gaining more control over project quality, reducing the risk of costly oversights, and setting your projects up to succeed. And don't underestimate the importance of having all of your critical information already organized into the Procore platform for a streamlined handoff to the construction team. Well, I think you take my point by now. Procore is not just a construction solution. You can leverage Procore to connect your project information and stakeholders across the lifecycle from the very beginning. So current customers, if you want to learn about how you can start using Procore during design and pre-con today, reach out to your Procore point of contact and they'll be happy to set you up with some more information. And if you're not a customer yet, scan this QR code, which will take you to a demo request page. There, you can request a customized demo of everything that the Procore platform has to offer. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation today, and I hope you learned something from it. Now get out there and start planning and designing some cool new projects. Happy building!